That's the problem is that that's a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It took me from January to now. Well, I didn't reread this. I just read what was given to me. Never read the rest of it. I get it. I'm telling you that the school board, one thing that Jesse did teach me was important. So,
You tell them that.
you know, I tell him, I need you at your own game. I learned how to read. And I learned how to read all this to at your own game. So he knows that. But again, like no one's taking our knowledge and adding on stuff.
Well, and
But I think it's a great idea that it was done, and I commend, Rich and his team that they actually did this, because it's been years since it's been done. It's just that,
I think what, I guess what it's supposed to do is it's not supposed to do that. Does that make sense? It's supposed to just, make it easier,
for us to go through.
well, make it easier for us to go through, but also just put everything like written the same, or using the same words, common council, instead of council, things like that, but if it's doing more.
It can do it, how it's written. That's the thing.
Yeah, we're more going, except, Ransford, he says nothing on the Zoom. Everybody else, so.
Hello, everybody. What?
Don't worry, I didn't know I feel too. I told her all this. Hello. So did you get my?
Okay, let me explain. So this right here. Jerry, you have a problem. This right here. It's gonna be unfilled. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's written, where this is supposed to be taken negotiation from, which we do not do. Right? So I have had to look through this. I said, was it the words? What is it? It is. So this is written incorrectly. So if we pass that really override the bill, it's gonna be questioned again, because we're not voting once upon a time. We're not appreciating the appropriate. So he said that he's gonna bring it back once he talks to the bank of Burns within, I'm hoping, the next council meeting. So either way, it's written wrong.
You. So first.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Denise, did you say that second? The second text that I sent you, you was looking at your finish one?
Yes, I did.
Roland?
Oh, The way they.
Yeah, yeah.
They sent that way.
See you later.
But they never, but they never would pay nobody else. Oh, and they never figured out anything about having actual. And especially how big they were. That was a Russell. And that, they said to keep them leaving. They just went to. Maybe before not.
Kenny said.
Well, I want to explain that. And I said, they could. And they can, even though I was at. They already know. And when I call Sandra, I call you, nobody. And in this social, we have the same privilege. You hear this? This is the same privilege as other, listeners. Yeah. Because this show, then you don't give you this.
It's fun.
Okay. And. Oh, okay, good. Good. I know. He did tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I got, yeah.
I just want to make sure you. This is the second. 8, 7, 8.
You know, I'm on my. Oh, yeah. Okay, I wish I did this. We have a, they were all. What? I know what. I mean, I get it. Oh, so. You got it there.
Yeah, it's picture flag. How are you, sir? Nice to see you. Been walking. 24? The Chicago Common Council meeting will now come to order on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. We please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, Chief Justice Frost. Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
First District Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez.
Here.
Third District Councilman Terrence Hill.
Here.
Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfrey.
Present.
Fifth District Councilman Robert Garcia. Present. Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange.
Present.
Councilman at Large Wayne Ransom.
Present.
Councilwoman at Large Vanessa Hernandez on.
Present.
Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe.
Here.
Council President Lenny Franciscan.
President. Do we have any minutes for the last meeting?
We have none.
Do we have any communications from the mayor?
I believe everyone has received the veto message.
Yes.
That is correct.
That is all I have.
Any communications from department heads?
Accounts payable warrants. Accounts payable warrant 050124 CC, 050824 CC, 050824 LA, and 050224 CC.
So
Second. Motion was made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Hill to accept the accounts payable warrants. Have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
No.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciscan.
Yes.
Payroll warrant biweekly 042624 and payroll warrant monthly 050124.
So moved. Second. Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill to accept the payroll warrants. Do I have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciscan.
Yes. Do I have any committee reports? Moving on, do we have any board reports?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winfield.
Yes, reporting from the planning commission about 2121 East Columbus Drive, which was the old county market. North Shore Medical Development will be taking place there. They are planning to open, between June 1st and the 28th. This will be a $5 million investment and will bring medical resilience to the community. A lot of work will go into the building and we'll have 3 solid medical tenants when completed. This will be done in 2 phases. So the one that's gonna open in June will actually be the first phase, which was the bank building. That one, so they're able to start there, and open up. They will bring more into the second phase, which is a lot more detailed, work that's gonna need to be done. We all concerned about what's going on in that building, so that's gonna be at a later date, but they're starting the first phase on that building.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other board reports? Moving on, do we have any ordinances on first reading?
No, we do not.
Any ordinances on second reading?
No, we do not.
Any ordinances on third reading?
First ordinance on third reading, ordinance 24-0010, sponsored Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez. An ordinance enacting a code of ordinances for the city of East Chicago, Indiana, revising, amending, restating, codifying, and compelling certain existing general ordinances of the political subdivision dealing with subjects embraced in such code of ordinance. So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilwoman Winfield, to hear ordinance 24-0011. Any questions on the motion? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
I know there's questions about, the actual revisions of some of the book, because it is a big book, and I know that it's, how can I say this? It's supposed to be very, streamlined and very simple, but I know that some people have concerns with this ordinance. So I'm asking that, we table this ordinance right now until we could, further look into the book and see what, if there's other major changes that, are being made that we didn't approve of.
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Garcia, to table ordinance 24-0011. Any question?
Correction, it's 0010.
Oh, I'm sorry, 0010. Roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yeah.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
yes,
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes. Councilwoman,
What would be about that? So whoever's having concerns about it.
So-
Figure it out.
Councilwoman.
Because this is all part of the ordinances, and I'm assuming it's under the house rules, I'm assuming we could all, that committee could look into it. Plus, since I'm on it, I'm already reading it, that's probably the best way to go anyways. And more importantly, just kind of make sure we streamline that as we move forward. And again, I thank the clerk's office for taking the initiative to move this forward so that it could be easier for the council to go through the books or make it where we could go online for not just us, but for the community. But I want to make sure that when it comes to the wording, it's not taking what the council has approved or not approved into a different direction, so.
Councilman Garcia.
Yeah, Dr. McGinn, do you have any input on this? Or anything to say?
My office has put a lot of work into this to date. Ms. Viv is the recording secretary for this body. And she took the bull by the horn and got us to where we're at right now. I want to commend her for the work she did on this. I'm glad that the council is paying attention and they want to do something with this book. I'm glad that you're all going to put your hands in it now and help us move along and get this finalized. Thank you for taking it off Ms. Viv's hands. She could do some more clerking at the office. Other than that, no, I believe it shouldn't be too much more work. Most of the work has already been done.
And as my colleagues know, the House Rules Committee, the chairwoman is Monica Gonzalez. Second on the committee is Vanessa Hernandez Orange and Councilwoman Winfield. So they are on the House Rules Committee. Councilman or Clerk Medina, next ordinance, please.
Ordinance 24-0011, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Appropriations ordinance, local road and bridge grant fund 4501 HMA, overlay and street reconstruction.
Second, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilman Garcia. To hear ordinance 24-0011. Do you have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Transfer,
yes,
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
That completes ordinances on third reading, Mr. President.
Do we have any resolutions?
You have one consideration of ordinance 24-0004 vetoed by the mayor.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes, I would like to, I know I asked Vivian to put this on the agenda. I would like to rescind this, and I would ask Attorney Jones to give the explanation properly.
Sure. It seems pretty clear to me that there was some confusion. I'm not sure who drafted this ordinance to begin with, but I think the problem is that statute where we were accepting the grant funding and entering into a contract with the county council required it to be done by this body. And so I'm assuming whoever drafted the resolution thought that since we were signing the contract with the county council, that we would also be doing the ordinance for the appropriation. But that's not how the statute reads for appropriations. So if we are going to be appropriating, it's got to be sponsored by the mayor. So again, I have to assume that that is where the confusion started, because we were the body that entered into the contract with the council pursuant to that statute. But we can't appropriate as a council, and the sponsor on this appropriation is a council member, and it needs to be mayor. That's it.
Councilman Garcia?
Question. I know this council in the past created funds to accept grants, so was it the wording different in this?
Again, I didn't draft it, so I don't know why it was drafted the way that it was drafted, but it appears the way that it's drafted, it makes it seem as though it's an appropriation ordinance. So I would assume whoever's gonna take a second stab at it might change the wording. Or the mayor wants to sponsor an appropriation to put the funds in that particular fund that I think Val created.
To spend it, correct?
Or-
We create the fund and then they put the fund
And they
in
put the
there.
money in there.
And
They
then-
appropriate it into the fund. Yeah. So the way it's drafted as an appropriation ordinance, which the council doesn't have the power to do.
Councilwoman Orange?
Well, this is first. What's got to be? This is my first time ever seeing it. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, once it gets to this point and if it's not right, we can still pull it into the, it's coming out for a future.
Go ahead.
It's dead now. This ordinance will be dead.
It's dead.
So in order for it to come back, it has to be more wording.
Well, so the council could take the approach of voting to override it or voting not to override it, or Monica pulled it. I kind of either way on it. I would assume that you let it die if you don't vote on it. You let it die, then someone else has to bring the new ordinance, and with a new sponsor, it'd be the mayor, not anyone from the council.
And we can't bring back this ordinance at all because it's not properly drafted for us to appropriate that money. That's the whole problem. It's not drafted correctly. So that's why I rescinded it, because so let's say we voted on it, then there would be a lawsuit saying you are the council, you cannot appropriate money. You know what I mean? I'm the one who appropriated. So hopefully we can get this corrected and have the proper, whether it be Diana or the mayor or whoever, bring it back as an appropriation from the mayor.
So when it does come back, I would like for Diane Burns to be here so that she can answer the questions that we need answer. I mean, Val's answered some, everything's up in the air. Tom O'Donnell answered some, but the person that's really governing the grant has not answered the questions.
So it was my understanding, and I don't know if Val can speak to this or not, but it was my understanding that this grant, the grant money, they had already budgeted how they were gonna spend it, so those answers should be readily available. If Diana wants to come up and speak to that, but, as far as this ordinance is concerned, it's got, if we're gonna appropriate money, it's gotta come from the mayor.
And just for my colleagues, Diana Burns was scheduled to come this evening, but I did call her and tell her she was not needed because we were going to table the ordinance. So she was scheduled to be here, but I told her not to show up. So, do I have a second to take?
Second.
Well, you're not taking, because you either have to vote to override the veto or not, or she's pulling it off. It's gonna die.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Next item?
Motion was made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Hill. Take off ordinance 24-0004. Okay, I'm just making sure. All right. All right, moving on.
Resolution.
Yes.
Resolution 24-0006, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago, Indiana, granting Michael J. Yurimovich, correct me if I'm wrong. An assessed value deduction tax abatement for Triangle Rio property under Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Garcia. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Hill, to hear resolution 24-0006. Have any questions on the motion? Councilman Garcia.
Mr. Senator? Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing, Mr. Yurinovich? Senator, when's the time clock start on this year? Did it start in 2020?
Well, that's a good question because we did not have a resolution passed. We're actually incorporating a waiver here for non-compliance because it had not been passed and asking the auditor's office to reset the clock beginning now.
We just came from 7 years from 2020, and we still get credit at time clock from there to now.
You know, it's a possibility. We'll have to look into that.
The reason I say is that, the city gives a lot of abatements. Matter of fact, we had BPM about to come in, build a hydrogen hub, biggest in the whole nation, $6-9 billion. Last time they expanded, that was the biggest expansion at $3 billion. Okay. They're coming in for abatements. City's not gonna hurt. We ain't no abatement. Well, who does hurt is the school city of Chicago. Money not going into to their funds. And that's my big concern, that school city of Chicago is not getting their right tax base in this. When can we get that answer if?
Well, I think part of the dilemma is, then if it goes back to day one, from 2021, then there would be refunds that would be issued too. So whether you start the clock, I think the county, what I've seen in the past is they would just start it at this point that the documents are now filed.
So what have you paid since then?
This tax bill last year was, I think, about 53,000.
So I can't hear you, sir. We paid 3 years taxes already, so we paid somewhere between 175 to 200,000.
I'll talk to you briefly in the back, and I gave a handout to my colleagues here for stuff.
Say that
For
again.
the grant, What'd you get for to pay employees $1.3 million? From the grant, tax credit, we signed it. So, yeah. I did it. At that time. There you go. Yeah.
This was through, the state of Indiana.
That's correct.
This was potential. We never got $1.3 million.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The only thing you use of that $1.3 million for employees that's in the account that I see. I went on the website today.
We've hired, since we've been here, we've hired 63 Indiana residents. You may have brought some to my attention, they were not backing me like that grant, so we should. But all, out of those 63, 20, of those are still.
And you say they were part-time?
Well, because we're a construction company, some of these jobs are seasonal. You know, we're busy now, and then January, February, we have to tend to lay part of our workforce off. So I think for us to get the grant money, they've got to be full-time employees. That's what we're not getting.
Yeah, by the end of 2022, you're supposed to have three additional 83 jobs, but you didn't do that either, right? Well,
Remember, this started, when we built this building, it was a height of COVID. When we did the groundbreaking, everybody was wearing masks. When we did the grand opening, everybody was wearing masks. So we lost all of that time. We lost 2021. It really wasn't until 2022 that we could start ramping up. So that hurt us a lot.
You know, I just asking the colleagues that, you know what, instead of giving 7 years, give a 4-year abatement. You know what, it helps the school city out, you know, in the future, school city gonna have to do an abatement. I mean, not abatement, but referendum, that referendum. Schools are not properly, funded by the state, you know. Every school city in Indiana is hurting big time, and I just don't want to give a 7-year or give an abatement and school city loses out. Each Chicago has a surplus, they got the boat. None of that boat money goes to school city. We don't need school city hurting any more than they are already financially.
You know, when we built this, when we purchased this property, this was vacant property that had been vacant for a very long time. And the lot next to us is still vacant. We negotiated with the city to get this. It was portrayed us that we would get the abatement. I had offers to build this building in Hammond and get an abatement. I had offers from Maryville, I had offers from 6 other communities. So one of the things that drove our decision was that the substantial abatement.
Usually the abatement comes from this council and we discuss it, and give out them on the years. It's not an automatic thing. That's not the financial climate the city's in, not the city's in, but the school cities need. We need that, tax from that, you know. And then, like I said, we got BPM for probably gonna ask for a tax abatement on $6 to $9 billion. Unimaginable, you know, but, that's what I heard. And, you know, if my colleagues would like, you know, I'd rather do it for you. And it's still, to me, it's still win-win for Mr. Uranovich. And the city.
Well, I'm a small businessman. BP Amico is a huge corporation. All I'm asking the city to do is to do, I did what I promised I would do. I built a very nice facility. Most of you have been there. I've opened up my building to the community, to young people coming to work. We have a training program. We've kept that facility beautiful. If you go by there, we pick up the garbage every day. Between us and the fire station and the other building, Michigan Avenue is very nice looking place. So we held up our end of the deal. I'm just asking that the city would live up to their.
Councilwoman Hernandez Orange.
Yeah, first off, I haven't toured the facility, but I do know about the facility simply because of the fact that I went to IU Tech and they actually are working in partnership, or some of their individuals who work there are now working for your company.
That's correct.
So I do see that you are working with the community in order to give jobs. So I thank you for that. On top of, if the school city ends up passing the fact that a hub for the new Kerry Gosh I do hope that you bring in some type of training so that those individuals who are actually in that hub end up working for you. Now, I do know, from previous experience, currently the school city is not in financial problems. And technically, if they do their job, then they won't be in the future. Mr. Sender, I'm sure your company also knows, where we are with that. So with that being said, I do implore you to continue a partnership with the school district in some form or way as Councilman Garcia is concerned for the school district. At the end of the day, it's about our kids and we want to have a place where we can employ our children or students there. So if receiving the tax abatement, we ask that you just continue to work for the community, I'm sure.
We've been working with Marin Lee with the school district
Yes.
to set up a craft training program at our facility. You can imagine we have to jump through a lot of hoops for it to become accredited, but we're getting very close to getting that accomplished. Where students will go to East Chicago High School part of the day and then come to our facility for craft training the rest of the day. So we're doing all the things we said we would do.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Winfield?
Yes, have you reached out to Work One? And if so, are you looking to invest in more land?
We have been talking with Work One. We've had several meetings with them. They haven't sent us any potential candidates yet. I asked all of you, if you know some good candidates, we'd love to interview them. All we ask is that they have a willingness to learn, that they make it to work on time every day and make it to work and don't do drugs, because we have a drug testing program. And you would be amazed, and I'm not just talking about the young people in East Chicago, I'm talking about everywhere we hire from. You tell them they're gonna have a drug test and they still fail the drug test. Well, that's screen them out. But we are working with Work One. We just haven't gotten it yet.
Any other questions?
Are you looking to invest in any of the land?
We were looking at the lot next to us because it's still vacant. But somebody told us we might get a tax abatement if we bought that other lot. I want to get this one resolved first and then we'll go.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes, I want to make a motion that instead of a 7-year, it'd be a 4-year rate.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe, to have a 4-year abatement instead of the 7-year on resolution 24-0006. Can I get a roll call, please?
Gonzalez,
No.
Hill,
No.
Winfield,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
Ransford. Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez Orange,
No.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisci,
No.
Ransford,
Mr. Ransford, you're muted. You might have an emergency.
Going back to resolution 24-0006. Motion,
Second.
motion was made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilwoman Hernandez.
point of order, Mr. President, we already had a motion by Councilwoman Orange, and it was seconded by Councilman Hill.
I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Then we go to roll call. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
No.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford, Hernandez Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
No.
Francisco,
Yes.
Ransford was yes.
that concludes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations. Moving on to old business. Do we have any old business? Councilman Hill?
Yeah. 2 meetings ago, we talked about the housing development over in the harbor area, kind of management that speaks up on, has anybody heard anything? In fact, the clerk of Munster Community, Sydney Kelly a letter to see if she contacted those, of management, but what the owners, he can really have them for us.
If it's in the email address. So.
I don't remember, if I had gotten any since.
Any other old business? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
I know Vivian drafted a letter to Lena asking for an update on the water issue at our filtration plant. If I'm not mistaken, we haven't received any correspondence back, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because it's been a week and a half since she sent the letter, and we still don't have an update on the water and the filtration. Thank you.
Any other old business? Moving on to new business. Councilwoman Orange?
Mr. Rubio is here, so I. So, and, Tony Jones, you may have to look into this and find out, and maybe even send a letter out to brother, then, for Vivian not to put that out, what she can, but this is the situation. NIPSCO has come into the city and they are digging up their old gas lines. And they have not let anybody know that that's what they're doing. When you look up, you see the truck and they start digging. When you're digging up an old gas line, I had, an explosion on Evergreen, 2 doors down from me. I know what the damage can do, breaking walls, breaking windows and everything else. And you got a leaky pipe for which they, when I asked the guys, that's what they're doing, is going through the city and fixing the old gas pipes that are leaking. Well, somebody should have been notified. I called Sandra, she didn't know anything about it. I called Julio, he didn't know anything about it. James Porter, the team, didn't know anything about it. So I'm wondering, how can NIPSCO, I don't even care, they are a big company, and if those are their gas lines, how they keep coming to the city and just start digging, not letting the residents know, because where they were digging at, there's houses there. People should have been notified if you smell gas or anything, this is what's going to happen. And they didn't pass out any flyers, they didn't say anything, and when the residents asked them, they got smart with them.
I called to them,
No, go ahead, answer your question.
I called to them when you let me know this problem. If they say in this kind of jobs, they never before sent any flyers, any notification to the city. They come to work, if they have to do everything they have to do. But I say, okay, maybe before. People now, please, I want you, every time you have some kind of problem, you have to do some kind of job in the city, you have to notify to the city engineer or maybe Sandra or something like that, because really is a problem. We can't accept that. But I have a meeting with them, if they say it's okay for next time. Because they say never send any letter and nothing to the president.
And maybe they didn't, but when you're saying that you got an old pipe that could explode or seep gas, and they're not letting anybody know, I would have been terrified if I had been in that house. Because you don't know if it's gonna go, they fixing it, but they don't know what's going, they're putting a whole new thing in so it doesn't leak or explode. Unacceptable. I don't even care if they never talk to anybody. I can't believe that they would do it in any other city. Come in and just start digging up people's grass and their lawns and sprinkler systems and everything else, and not tell them not one word of what's going on other than the fact that we got a right to go through here and dig it up.
I talked about that also. They say it's the city, the residents don't have any problems with this kind of job. After that, when they finish the job, they are going to redo everything that they brought. So they say it's any risk to the residents with this job.
I think it is risk, anytime you got a possible leakage or when they go to fixing it. And no matter what, maybe, but they didn't have no problem because they thought maybe this is what they could do. Maybe people just didn't question, but I know that people did, some of the residents did ask them. Some of them got a little smart. I have the project manager's information out there.
Yeah.
Forward to you. But like I said, it's just unacceptable. It shouldn't be done. We got landlords and other contractors that come in and they gotta go through a vigorous process in this city in order to get their license or either repair something. And because NIPSCO is a big company and they figured they could just come in and they didn't just do it on the easement, they went to people's yards. And maybe people didn't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem when they told me that if we don't do this, it's gonna explode. Yeah, I want them to hurry up and fix it. But it shouldn't be done. I don't know.
I understand you. I'm upset also, but they say only in big jobs, we have to notify to the city or to the engineering department. Like to now they have a leak in Rayleigh Road and Canal Street. So they call to me, I go over there because they are going to close Rayleigh Road next in front to the Cleveland Cliffs. But it's a huge pipe. Here is 2 inches pipe. I know it's a risk, but I think for the next time they are going to send a notification to the engineering department. I too upset about this. I say maybe last years you don't say nothing, but now you have to say.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilman Garcia?
Yes, I agree with, Councilwoman Orange. They come in and dig up, they don't get any permits. You know, out of my own house, but if I want to do any work, I get a permit. This will don't have to get, for some reason, they don't have to get a permit, I guess.
They don't have to, they have easements, so,
Yeah, but when they're on my land.
They own the property.
yeah.
Everybody's on my land. Yeah, and the thing is, they should notify, because if, at least the fire department, because something happens, guess what, who's going to respond is our fire department. And the thing is, you will hear about house explosion once or twice a year, right? Because nobody knew it was a leak, and the whole house explodes. But if they're coming in digging lines up, they at least got to notify the fire department. Because if they got to respond, they want properly to respond.
Okay.
So at this point, Julio, you just said you have a meeting with them, so you're gonna take care
I
of
go
this?
to send a notification to them. Next week we have a meeting about this. And really, a problem because they own the land. They pay to us for depending how wide is the pipe. Example, in Martown, they pay for 30 feet wide to all along the Pine Street. Yeah.
Okay.
I understand you.
Excuse me, point of order. You have a meeting with them, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, please get back to us on what they said before going on. All right, but thank you,
Yeah, okay.
thank you. Moving on to new business, I believe we do have, Mr. Sean Connolly here to do a brief.
Can I hand out some additional?
Sure.
And council, this is just a reminder of, the letter that I gave everybody last week.
I have
and
it.
asked to read over about the, hydrogen hub plant in Louisiana.
I have additional copies of.
And they should be, you should have. it. Welcome and thank you for coming to explain. Mr. Connolly.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So, just like Councilman Garcia had mentioned, the Northwest Indiana region has been given a very nice gift from the federal government, Department of Energy, in $1 billion grant to build a hydrogen hub. And it is going to be an economic engine that we haven't seen since the $3 billion that BP invested. I think it was back in 2006. But hydrogen is also can be a potential danger. The goal behind the hydrogen hub is to try and decarbonize heavy industry here in Northwest Indiana. And it's part of President Biden's initiative through the Inflation Reduction Act to reduce carbon emissions across the country. There are several different types of hydrogen that can be used in order to accomplish this. Linde, who's a company who's here in East Chicago right now, produces what's called gray hydrogen. And that's when they just allow the emissions to go up in the air. There is blue hydrogen, which has a facet that's called carbon capture, which will try to capture the carbon from the actual process of creating hydrogen and then sequester it and pipe it into the ground. There's also green hydrogen, which is using renewable energy such as windmills and solar in order to create that hydrogen through a process called electrolysis, which is water-based. Now, in the letter, I said to Councilman Gonzalez, I stopped here a couple weeks ago with another resident, said to her, have you heard about the hydrogen hub? And it seems as if everyone has heard about it, but have we heard any details about it? Do we know what where the project is going to be located? Supposedly it's within 2 miles of BD, radius of 2 miles, which means it's here in the backyard in Chicago. Did we know that they were going to be primarily using blue hydrogen, which you're going to create carbon through that process? The goal of this project is to reduce the carbon footprint, but we are creating carbon in order to create hydrogen, to pump it down 100 miles south of here and then inject it into the ground 3,000 to 7,000 feet in hopes that it stays down there. In my opinion, we're solving a problem, potentially creating another problem. I'm trying to make this as brief as possible because it's a very big subject. I guess my point in bringing this to your attention is this is happening in your backyard. And I've been watching this for several months now, and the transparency that we've seen from this group called MACH2, which is the group of businesses and universities and other individuals are putting this together. There's been no transparency whatsoever about what they're doing. They're supposed to have these public meetings telling us what's going to happen, and there's been none of that until this point. In their proposal, they've talked about using green, pink hydrogen, and blue hydrogen. Pink hydrogen is nuclear, except for here in Indiana right now, they're only considering blue hydrogen. 90 miles south of here, if you've ever driven to Indianapolis, we have wind farms down there. BP owns 3 of them, 355 windmills. In the last year, they've upgraded 40 of them, which has increased their output by 40%. Just 40 of them. They have 315 more windmills that they could upgrade that could be used as renewable energy in this project, but they don't seem to be talking about that. So I guess I bring it to your attention. You need to know for your residents that this could be potentially in the backyard. There is a town in Missouri called Satora, Sataria. If you Google that, Satora, Mississippi, they had a CO2 pipe explode back in 2021. One of the things that happens when a CO2 pipe explodes is it suffocates out combustion engines. What does that mean? It means that emergency vehicles can't get to where the explosion was. So if it's in a residential area, and where's this pipeline going to go if it's here in East Chicago? It's going to have to go pretty close to a residential area, I think, right? If we have an explosion in this CO2 pipeline and it fills the air with CO2, the ambulance can't get to whoever might be injured in that explosion. So it's just some things to think about. If you guys have any questions about the letter that I wrote, I'm more than happy to answer as much as I can. I'm a little background. I'm a member of the Highland Neighbors and Sustainability. I'm not a scientist. I'm just someone who's interested in environmental issues. I've done a lot of research on this. I'd be more than happy to talk with any of you about it anytime, or respond with any of you anytime. Councilwoman Gonzalez has my contact.
I was just gonna say, so if anybody wants to speak with this gentleman a little more in further detail, please reach out to Councilman Gonzalez for his information.
So, and this is not an anti-hydrogen hub speech, right? This is going to be a great project. But why are we going to, again, create a problem, solve a problem by potentially creating another problem. They're going to invest millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in this. Why can't we do it right the first time and make it green? Let's make it green energy, so that the future, is for our kids, so that we know it's gonna be done right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have any other new business? Councilman Garcia?
Yes. Can we send a letter to the mayor and business and finance? I know reference this project, they have talked to the mayors in the area, and the Whiting, New Chicago. So if we could get passed on that information, it'd be great for us to know. Also, one thing I want to bring up, yesterday, I was at St. Pat's at Pole, and a whole bunch of kids came on a bike. Causing, saying vulgar things to us and stuff like that. Police was called. They ended up stopping them. So they were so disrespectful to the officers, too, putting the minister officers, cursing at them. Their ECPD, they're withstanding these kids. They arrested them, ticketed their parents and stuff like that. What we need to do is talk to, county prosecutor or JC over there, that one of the officers was telling us that they arrest them. They go down there and then they let them go. We should have seen these kids. I've never seen kids act like that to a police officer, never in my life. Ever. Maybe we need to start having discussions to see what's going to happen. But these kids have been terrorizing the neighborhood for the last 2-3 weeks. I know I got some residents here that's going to talk about it. That's all. Thanks.
Moving on to public expression, please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Ready, Councilman Hill? Yes, sir. First, we have Mr. Thomas Madonna.
Good evening, everyone. I live at 2405 Rodriguez Lane. I'll keep my comments short and we get correctly the time here. Speaking of explosions in NIPSCO, the residents on my block will receive notification that they're going to come by and change out the gas. Whether you're going to be home or not, they're going to ask you if you have dogs, pets, put them away. They're going to come into your yard. And it's very disheartening that they're working on stuff and you're not going to be home. I mean, they're just going to be milling around in your backyard without anybody denying. A couple years back on the same street, across the street, NIPSCO just came by. There was a whole bunch of trucks and they even brought the small payroll drinker. What's going on? Oh, there's a gas leak back there. We're trying to fix it for you guys. Well, how about notification? Maybe you guys want to evacuate until it's all clear. No notification. But what they do give us in the city is smoke detectors. Yeah, it's a trade-off because our taxes went up because of the lights. We don't have any adequate lighting on our beauties, right? So the mayor shifted the cost to the residents. The residents ended up going to the hardware stores, putting in lights, and we have to pay that out of our pocket to NIPSCO. And for that gratuity to us, they gave us smoke detectors. That's all I have. Have a nice evening, everybody.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Ricardo Rivera.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to talk about this truck traffic. Last year, Chief Rivera had a community update stats party where he boasted about the stats of the police department. One of the residents asked about truck traffic on Parish Avenue between Michigan Avenue and Columbus Drive. What Mr. Rivera told him to do was call a dispatch and keep calling. This way we could pad the stats. This way we could get resources to address that issue. So the last 3 weeks, I've been calling dispatch, giving my name and all of my contact information. To no avail. There's no police that come up and down there. It's been going on for 3 weeks. The other day I called 3 times because for each truck. Then we had police cars going up and down, up and down. But I guess the truckers have radios too, so they notify each other that the police are around. But if they do proper policing, they could just put a police car on Parrish and Broadway. And that'll deter the trucks all the time, or at least issue them a citation. I got so frustrated today, I called the engineers department and asked them if Parrish between Michigan and Columbus are, is that not a truck route or is it a truck route? So they're supposed to get back with me and check to see if they could put signage or something. But, you know, the chief, Mr. Rivera tells us to call, but nobody shows up to do anything and nobody stops these trucks. Thank you very much.
Next, we have, Ms. Eleanor Rosa.
Good afternoon. I live at 511 Spring Street, East in Markham District, since 1978. This roundabout is actually a big problem. Day before yesterday, I was leaving just before 3. I had to take the roundabout because Pine Avenue is closed. NIPSCO, I thought I could beat up on Pine to go to Chase. NIPSCO has that locked up. Those NIPSCO trucks have been there since 4 days before they closed it. I didn't know that. I know the NIPSCO trucks are sticking there. I go to take Klein to go to Chase. No, I had to go turn around, get down Spring Street and try to exit Spring Street. 6 cars almost hit me. They wouldn't let me out. So I kept that inching. 6 cars went around me, tried to totally block them, and they stopped. And they let me out. So when I got to the pharmacy, I had already called the police. I made a police report with Officer Corral. He said that Officer Parks would call me between 8 and 4 the next day. He's traffic patrol. He has yet to call me. Okay. And I've been asking for years about a sign to the bus. There was a lady waiting right there today. I was gonna give her a ride on Dickey Road and Park Street for a bus. I said, I don't think the bus has come there. And once you got in the car, there, the bus shows up. I've been asking for signs about the bus stops for 8 years. I've been calling the people in charge of that. They have yet to put a sign up. So I've been asking for the speed bumps, but yet they have speed bumps at the hospital, over here on the way to park department, all over the place, in Whiting, everywhere. But we've been asking for speed bumps for over 12 years. You know what they gave us? Parking bumps. Parking, how do you go, what park the car? We had to go around them. That was 12 years ago. We have, just on 500 Spring Street alone, over 15 kids that can't play in the street no more, not allowed to, only have to stay in the yard, unless the parents take them to the park. Now the center's open, but a lot of parents are afraid to let them go to the center because of germs. The center is open. I've been letting the parents know. I give them notices. And also, okay, I'm sorry. And as far as he said about the lights, we were given notice on our water bill years ago about free solar lights. I've jumped on it. As long as you have the light switch, I've had mine for about 5 years because I already had lights outside. So I've had that free solar light for a time. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Margaret Rubalcaba.
Hello, I live at 3820 Grand Boulevard. I came, left work yesterday and I went to go. as soon as I left to go vote, these kids are running around on bikes. They try to hit my car. They recognize me because they started trouble since Sunday. And they've been doing nothing but trouble. They've been going on my block 4 times threatening me and my husband. We've been threatened. They've been threatening kids as they walk down on the sidewalk. We had to put a boy in our porch because these kids came out and they're threatening. They don't care. They were cussing. They were at fuerte. They were disrespecting the kids there and the a couple with babies. This is going on, and you know, the mayor should come around the streets to see what we need. You know, you're over there, oh, well, you know, you're doing this, you're doing that. We're in trouble in our area. And nobody cares. Robert's out there all the time. I'm calling the police. I had the police come 4 times. I made a report today. I'm going Monday to Crown Point and I'm gonna press charges. I'm not playing around because if somebody kills one of my grandchildren, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I lost 1 to gun violence and I'm not gonna lose another grandchild because he lives there in that same area. I will not lose another grandchild to gun violence. That's not, because you don't know how I feel, because I have to see my granddaughter's picture every day because she was killed by a gun, and these kids don't give one crap about us. They're over there harassing old people, trying to get in their yards. I've never seen little monsters like that. I have no pity for them. I have pity for the people that are going through all this. But if they come and they hurt one of my grandchildren, I'm not gonna shut up.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Maria Lucero.
Hello.
Hello.
I've never been here. I don't know your rules or whatever. I brought pictures of my backyard, my fence, from where this garbage truck zooms by. Hey, I don't care if she picks up the garbage, does whatever she's supposed to do. I'm on my side. But they're throwing the garbage cans at my fence. And the top, it's a 6-foot fence. The top pole looks pregnant. It's like this. I'm waiting for the main pole to knock over. Who's gonna pay for it? I already bought it once. I don't want to buy it twice. Another thing is, why throw the garbage can at the ground or the fence or wherever? Now she's setting it in front of the gateway where it's where nobody can come in or out. I don't have a vehicle to go in or out of it. So there shouldn't still be nothing there blocking. I have a sheathing covering all the way around my all the yard, the front yard, the backyard. They tore that to shreds from the throwing of the garbage. And I would like somebody to stop it. Somebody pay for my junk. I mean, this is ridiculous. So who do I hand these to?
You can just leave with the clerk, ma'am. Someone will speak with you after the meeting.
So I'd appreciate somebody talking to number 14. But this happened before, in '04, and I did make a police report. And I was told, you have to know the truck number, you have to witness it. Well, my neighbor witnessed it that time, and nothing was done. So now I would appreciate some help.
Yes, ma'am. Last, we have Ms. Maria. What is it? Elias?
Yes.
Good afternoon, evening. My name is Maria Villegas. I've been born and bred in this city. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm Hemlock, 3616 Hemlock. I was born in St. Catharines, and I lived here my whole life. Several things. I see that Mayor Copeland's trying to do the best cleaning up the area. knocking down no buildings, putting up, grass and all that stuff. He needs cops. We need cops. The kids are getting out of hand, like the lady says. They think they can ride all over us. The majority of East Chicago is old people. Because we've been born here and we're gonna die here. The other thing is, mayors cleaning up, but how about the streets? Go down Guthrie at night, see if you can find a freaking white line or a yellow line. You don't know which way the traffic is, the lights are bad. They say, well, it's NIPSCO's problem. You guys pay NIPSCO's bill. Why aren't you guys calling NIPSCO? Why does it have to be the person? This is a city problem. Go down Guthrie after it's dark. You can't see the white line, you can't see the yellow line, and you're hoping that, you know, I'm aiming at the red light, that I'm in the right area. Oh, there's a light, there's a white line at the turn block. I know Copeland's trying to do the best he can, but he needs more cops, he needs more firemen, and he needs, like the lady said, these teenagers need to be brought to task. Get their parents up here. If the parents don't give a shit, put them in June. See how long before they start getting out of control. You gotta catch the kids when they're little. They're teenagers now. They don't give a rat's ass. They believe they know it all. Just ask anyone. They know it all. You don't know nothing. Oh, you're old fashioned. That was in old times. This is the new times. But the new times haven't changed. You gotta respect your elders. I don't give a care what color they are. I was born with all my neighbors being black, white, no yellow at the time. We didn't never had all these different nationalities that we got today. We got Chinese, we got European, we got Venezuelan. I mean, they're from everywhere. We are a land of free people. But we don't feel free when we're being kept hostage by the different things. The other thing is the garbage thing. I got a letter because they took a picture of my garbage. It was overflowed. Well, I cannot keep an eye on my garbage. Other people come and put garbage on it. I get the letter. Excuse me, I know my time is up, but talk to somebody to get something done. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill. Roll call, please.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes.
Hernandez. Orange.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes. Good night.
And happy Mother's Day to everybody.
I
They don't care. But now, they see come and they let it out.
Mark, pay fine.
I did it every day.
One last. Yeah, I'm gonna go rock side.
No, I don't
Oh, that's that grand tier.
No, I can make.
Yeah, no longer. Get mad.
I can.